Hey everybody, welcome back. I had to take a break because I've been stressed out and my heart is breaking. I never intended to have a YouTube channel. I have better things to do. I have a lot of better things to do, but this is something that it is so scary that I cannot look away and I cannot stop. I need to take care of myself, but at the same time, I need to help people. I feel like history is repeating itself. And people don't do the homework. They don't learn, you know. And there are a lot of people out there with hate, and the hate is directed toward me, because I'm speaking what I know, and they don't know it. So I have to deal with that. I'm absorbing the anger, and I'm not used to that. You know, it is really rough. I'm a person that really feels deeply, deeply everything. I can look at a person and I'll know something's wrong. They could be smiling and I'll say, "Are you all right?" And then all of a sudden they break down crying, and I think that helps me a lot in my job. But I see what's going to happen, not just to Latin Americans, but to the poor, including white people. I see it, you know. If you play chess, you're a good chess player if you can see a lot of moves ahead of you, you know, and a lot of people are just playing checkers, you know, and I know a lot of the history and I'm still learning, but history is repeating itself and I see what's going on, you know, and, everybody is just upset, on, you know, the opposite side, right? Let's just say, I don't even know what to call it anymore because people are made to believe that, Latin Americans hate America, but we don't. We love it. And then they even look at their own people, right? The white people, right? Which there's no better term for it. I hate that, but I have to use it. There's a lot of them that are very good. They're very good people. They're accepting and they're loving. I know. They're not all bad, and not all MAGA's bad. They're not educated, you know. But there's a very small percentage. I want to say very small because I'm optimistic. There's a very small percentage that just don't want Latin Americans here. They don't want black people here. They don't want anybody different here, and it goes back to our history, you know. Look up Ellis Island. Most of the people were from Europe, white people. Very small percentage Latin America. And if you listen to Trump, he says he wants only people from good countries, not shithole countries, you know. And I see what's happening and I am so scared and I don't know what to do. I really don't. It is hard because I'm a citizen, right? But even I'm scared. I'm scared because they're just grabbing people off the streets. They don't even ask questions. And if you look up Johnny Harris, if you're really curious, right? If you want to say I'm, smug and all the stuff and I'm ignorant, you know what? Look up Johnny Harris, look up the history, verify what he's saying, and you'll know. And you may not care, right? Because if you're a person that wants everybody out, you're not going to care. You're not going to do the research. You're going to want this to go forward, And that's your prerogative, right? You have to live with that. You're okay with how people are being treated. And you don't care if Americans are mistreated that are trying to fight for them. So in some senses, you're against your own people, and you don't realize, right? Especially the poor white people. They don't realize that the people in government are very rich, They're very rich. They have billionaire backers and millionaire backers that are funding their movements. And they don't want the poor people either. Most of the people that have benefits are white people. So what do you think is going to happen when they run out of the brown people? They're already going after you. They are. They want to get rid of the mentally ill, disabled people, poor people, the old people that they believe are sucking the system dry, that are costing them way too much money to take care of. The disabled people that are on disability. They want to make it harder for you guys to vote so that you can't change the laws. And even if you change the law, right, sometimes they will do what they want to do anyway. You're seeing it now. And it is just so scary. And this is not the America I know and love. And it seems like there's a lot more of them than us, right? And by us, I mean people, white people that are good, poor people, disabled people, Latin American people, African American people. They're going after us. The poor are having a hard time just buying food and putting a roof over their heads. They're cutting back medical care, or they're making it so expensive that you can't afford it, so that you'll die. They don't care if you're a productive member of society. They don't care if immigrants contributed over $93 billion in 2022, 2024. They don't care. They don't care if they had to spend a lot of money, a lot of the money that they use to cut the programs, right? To have this army of people that don't want us here too, right? To go out there and brutalize people. They are building warehouses all over the country, and they're not going to care about you. What do you do? And what most people don't realize is that America, and maybe even some other countries, have caused the problems in Latin America. When they went in there, when Christopher Columbus went in there, they basically destroyed the lands and the infrastructure that they depended on. They were, living peacefully. They were growing their food. They were tending to their animals. They had their own villages and their own tribes and everything. And then in the white man's desire to go in there and find resources and enslave the people so that they can get them sugar and, later on cotton and all the things, they basically destroyed their way of life. And then when they left there, they left a mess. And the people could not clean that up. They could not fix that. Look at Cuba now. Nobody really hears from Cuba. All they know is that Cuba is bringing drugs, right? But they have to find a way to live, right? Because we destroyed it. And I don't condone it. I don't want drugs here. But how can you say that these people don't belong here after you destroy their home? And they can't live. When the U.S. has worked with their local government to make lives impossible for their people, the corrupt politicians, like in Puerto Rico. And when you can't live, right, like places like Mexico, they have like the rich part of Mexico, right? But then there's the poor part of Mexico, and you're wondering why, And the poor people have to contend with cartels and things like that, and they're in danger, and they don't have food, they don't have a lot of money, and the government is not helping them. What do? And those people have to go somewhere. And they were all a mess after the pandemic. And they were all trying to survive, and they all wanted to come here, the land of the free, the richest nation in America, right? And they did it by any cost, any cost necessary. But, that's wrong too, right? They shouldn't have done that. You got to come in the right channels, right? People say, oh, they should come in the right channels. I believe in that, Sometimes the problem is that the visas are going to white people mostly. Or very educated people from other countries, not the poor. And it takes a very long time. And they are desperate, so they come here. But anyway, if you do the research, I'll do more videos. But I mean, this government, not America, this government has been evil in the past. They forced sterilization on people, sometimes without consent, in order to bring the undesirable population down, and they've done a lot of other atrocities. I mean, they're willing to kill people, and they have in the past. In a lot of Latin American countries, when they went in there, they killed a lot of people to get what they wanted, And we believe that this is the land of the free and all of the things, and I believe that too. And I'm going through a mourning process right now because I never knew we could get here again. And like I said, I love white people. I love everybody. I do. I take care of a lot of them, and I love them. But history is repeating itself. And half the time I feel like a nut job for believing that. But my heart is breaking for all of the people that are going to suffer. Not just Latin Americans. The poor white people too. They are doing things in government that I never thought would happen. I've seen hate in people I have never seen before. And if you speak out, it goes towards you. It goes towards you, and it has been. And my heart is usually filled with love. It's not filled with hate. It is filled with fear and anxiety, dread of what's coming. And I don't know what to tell people. They've closed the borders. Part of me believes that they closed the borders, right, so that they don't let nobody else out. But I think at some point people are not going to be able to get out. What are you going to do, right, if you're a white American and people don't believe that it's going to happen, but it will. It may not be in your face, but they're already doing it. They're starving you out. And they don't care. They don't care. Like I said, they're building homeless camps to involuntarily put homeless people. A lot of them are going to be white too. You may think I'm white. They'll never do that to me. We've seen this government do things that we never expected. Look at this Trumpstein files. Like, he should be in jail right now, and he's not. And the government that we believe is supposed to protect us, right? They have been complicit in the past in doing some atrocious things to people. like state-sponsored sterilizations. Look at Puerto Rico's history. Look what happened to African American people. There were forced sterilizations, and they called it, a necessary procedure, or when they gave birth, they made sterile to keep the population down. I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole, but it is hard not to be discouraged. It is hard not to feel like people next to you are your enemy. I have the benefit of being a citizen, right? But just by speaking out, I'm nothing. I'm an enemy. What do I tell our people, our Latin American people? Look at the hate toward Bad Bunny. I mean, he's just performing, and he's just telling he's just showing us culture and talking about how our lives have been hard in Puerto Rico. It is being colonized now. It's been colonized a long time ago. Life has been made difficult over there for our people. And the same things happen to all of Latin America. I see what's happening in Gaza, and I believe it's going to happen here. And people think I'm crazy, but it's possible. Why do you think they're holding children? Every once in a while, America has to have a reset, in history. And we have people in government right now that believe in white America. They feel like they are being squeezed out by Black and Latin American people because their population is going down. Some of them. Like I said, there's a lot of good white people. And they're doing whatever it takes. They're breaking any kind of laws to do it. And the worst part, that's pretty bad. I'm not even going to say the worst part. I'm going to say the most messed up part is that we're paying for it with our taxes. We're paying for all of this cruelty. What is going to happen in all of those warehouses? People are blind, thinking that they're not going to get hurt. The Holocaust was state-sponsored. They allowed it to happen because they wanted the Jewish people out of there. What is our government going to allow? What they have been allowing? And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell people. Do you self-deport to a country that doesn't have power, lights, food, running water? Or do you tell them to stay here and pray that the worst thing in American history, will not happen? Tell me what you think, because I'm so scared. Look up Johnny Harris. If anybody's curious, look up Johnny Harris. He does a good job about talking about what's happened in all of the Latin American countries and the government and things like that, what has happened in the past. And look, just look, please. If you don't understand Spanish, have somebody translate. I am so scared. I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. God bless us all. God bless America. Help us all.